working in the spirit of the Golden Empire. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. PETA is calling for criminal charges against the California Living Museum after 3 recent animal deaths at the zoo. The organization says the zoo and its operator, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, should be charged with cruelty to animals due to the deaths of 2 Fisher cats infested with fleas and a skunk found with no food in its stomach. The Fisher cats died in spring of 2018 after staff failed to treat them for a severe flea infestation, according to a February inspection report by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. A report on one of the cats said it had thousands of fleas. In February, one of the 3 skunks it calmed was found dead in their shared enclosure. The report on the animal found its stomach and intestines empty and that it had a viral infection. Both the curator and the skunk caretaker on duty at the time of the inspection stated that there was no procedure in place to ensure that all the animals in shared enclosures were eating, according to a USDA report issued in April. Calm Board Chair Steve Sanders says they will hold a news conference this afternoon at 2 p.m. to address the situation. We'll stream it live on our KGET Facebook page and have much more on this story coming up tonight on 17 News at 5. This morning, 2 communities in San Bernardino hit hard by the recent earthquakes came together in a town hall meeting. Trona sits just 20 miles east of Ridgecrest, and it was hit especially hard by the 7.1 magnitude quake. It's less than 10 miles from the epicenter. Officials from San Bernardino County and state and federal agencies were on hand this morning to discuss recovery efforts. It was also an opportunity for residents to share concerns. 17's Eitan Wallace was there, and he'll have more from the meeting and how residents in Trona are getting back on their feet tonight at 5. It could be the first death related to Thursday's powerful earthquake in Ridgecrest, but it's not in Ridgecrest or in Trona. It's in Pahrump, Nevada, about 150 miles from the quake's epicenter. The Nye County Sheriff's Office released this video of the area where they found a 56-year-old man pinned underneath a Jeep. The man was last seen alive the day before the 6.4 quake that struck the morning of July 4th. Investigators believe the man was working on the Jeep, which fell off its jacks when the shaking began. The man's name has not been released. No other deaths or serious injuries have been reported from the earthquakes. Well, after all they've been through the last few days, residents from Ridgecrest and Trona came together for a movie last night to relax and try to regain some sense of normalcy. People living in Ridgecrest were treated to a free movie night at Freedom Park, right behind the Kerr-McGee Center, where many quake victims have been staying. Families were treated to free food and drinks courtesy of Salty's Barbecue, and they got to watch a remake of Disney's Dumbo on the big screen.
Everyone here has been wonderful. And I love how this community just pulls together and becomes one big family. It's wonderful.
It feels special here. You could just forget about the earthquake easily.
The event was put on by Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Assembly members Vince Fong, and Shannon Grove and Toyota of Ridgecrest. The safety of the Isabella Dam has been a big concern. The Sacramento District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers tweeted this photo yesterday. They inspected Isabella Dam along with the Terminus, Pine Flat, and Success dams, and engineers say there are not any signs of distress at any of the dams. Meantime, PG&E has a message for customers who may have shut off their gas during the Ridgecrest quakes. Don't try and turn it back on. House fires from ruptured lines are always among the biggest concerns following earthquakes. So PG&E says instead of trying to turn on the gas, call it the utility to have workers perform a safety inspection before gas service is restored and before appliance pilots are lit. To do that, you can call PG&E's customer service line at 1-800-743-5000. And just a reminder, the city of Ridgecrest has established a new hotline for residents to call to report damage. Kern County building inspectors are helping to staff the hotline. That number is 760-499-5083. The sheriff's office says you should call this number, not 911, to report damage. And we'll have a special edition of 17 News tomorrow night to mark 1 week since the 6.4 foreshock that hit Ridgecrest on the 4th of July. We'll have extended coverage on the quakes and recovery efforts that are underway. That's a special edition of 17 News at 6 p.m. tomorrow, right here on KGET TV 17. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Your 17 Court Watch now. This morning, a man convicted of brutally murdering a woman in the 1970s was sentenced. You may remember last month a jury found 62-year-old Prentice Foreman guilty of first-degree murder in the 1979 cold case of Don Coons. Police arrested Foreman 2 years ago after detectives matched his DNA to evidence recovered from the crime scene 4 decades ago. His sister was there for the sentencing and said she thought he should have at least received probation and that the case was all based on circumstantial evidence.
I don't think the prosecution should have brought up his past because served.
Time was served on that. Whatever it was done. It was served. And it shouldn't have been applied to this sentence today.
It was a circumstantial case. There was no direct evidence or eyewitness, but oftentimes circumstantial evidence speaks louder than direct evidence, and in this case it did. Spoke louder 40 years later. This defendant's semen was found in the rape kit of the victim. He had harassed her and stalked her in the weeks leading up to her death, and he lied repeatedly with respect to his whereabouts during the weekend she was murdered, and lied as recently as a year and a half ago when he was arrested about when they had this alleged consensual encounter.
Foreman was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Karen arrived in the Central Valley about 45 minutes ago. Take a look. This video is just into our newsroom of the couple arriving to the Naval Air Station in Lemoore. Coming up this afternoon, the Vice President will be featured as a speaker at an event there, talking about the trade agreement with Mexico and Canada. Karen Pence will talk to military spouses about employment. The Department of Defense says unemployment for military spouses is at 24%. Meantime, Congressman T.J. Cox released a statement about the vice president's trip to the Valley. It reads, quote, "I'm glad members of this administration are coming to the Central Valley to see firsthand the devastating impact of Trump's trade taxes on Central Valley communities." Back now on your 17 Health Watch, measles have officially made their way to Kern County. Health officials are now warning about an exposure at a Bakersfield hotel. This is the Doubletree Hotel on Camino del Rio Court. That's where Kern County Public Health says a person diagnosed with measles stayed overnight Thursday into Friday. Measles are highly contagious, and the disease can stay airborne up to an hour after an infected person coughs or sneezes. Public Health says there are no confirmed local cases and no ongoing risk to the public. But you are being asked to watch out for symptoms until July 26th. They can include a high fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and a rash. Anyone with questions can call Public Health at 321-3000. The measles may also be spreading at a Southern California university after an infected employee at a food court. LA County health officials say the UCLA employee ate at the food court known as the Bomb Shelter 2 times last week. Health officials are now looking for students and staff who may have been exposed. This is the 12th case of measles in Los Angeles County this year. Health officials nationwide are dealing with what's considered to be the largest outbreak of measles in the U.S. since the disease was declared eliminated in 2000. As of July 3rd, there have been 1,109 confirmed cases of the measles throughout the country. It's a medical miracle. Doctors in Cleveland are celebrating a big step in modern medicine that could bring new hope to women struggling to conceive. As NBC's Kristen Dahlgren explains, for the first time in the U.S., a woman has given birth after receiving a uterus transplant from a deceased donor.
The first baby in America and only the second worldwide ever delivered from a uterus transplanted from a deceased donor.
It went very well, and it was not as complex as we anticipated, which is obviously something that you always hope.
In June, a team of doctors at the Cleveland Clinic delivered the little girl to a mother in her mid-30s who had been born without a uterus. Her transplant in 2017 was part of an ongoing clinical trial. The baby conceived in 2018 through IVF.
I'm quite confident that over time that we will have come up with technical improvements that will make this more widespread.
Since the trial began, doctors have completed 5 uterus transplants. 3 have been successful, including this one and 2 others, now awaiting embryo transfer.
So I think it's important that these women have options.
Those mothers-to-be have new hope in this little girl some thought they would never see. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News.
Back on your 17 Business Watch, and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said this morning that many Fed officials believe a weakening global economy and rising trade tensions have strengthened the case for looser interest rate policies. Delivering the Fed's semi-annual monetary report to Congress, Powell sent the strongest signal yet that the central bank is ready to cut interest rates for the first time in a decade, possibly as soon as the July meeting. The Fed's benchmark rate currently stands in a range of 2.25% to 2.5%. After the central bank boosted rates 4 times last year, moves that brought increasing attacks from President Donald Trump. And in response, checking stocks, they're jumping today. The Dow up 84 points so far in trading, the Nasdaq up 54, and the S&P 500 up 13. Oil prices are also surging. Let's take a look. West Texas Intermediate, $60.18 a barrel, and Midway Sunset started the day at $64.18 a barrel. A new survey reveals some unexpected states have some attractive advantages for retirees. According to new research by Bankrate.com, Nebraska is the best place to spend your golden years. The study examined multiple data related to the life of a retiree, including affordability, wellness, weather, culture, and crime. Nebraska ranked well in wellness, affordability, crime, and culture. The second best place to retire, Iowa, also ranking well in affordability, wellness, and crime. Missouri, South Dakota, and Florida round out the top 5. Maryland was found to be the worst state to retire, ranking in the bottom for affordability and crime. New York, Alaska, Illinois, and Washington round out the worst states to retire in. Well, how much will you pay for summer travel if you still haven't booked a trip yet? We have some great ideas that could save you a bundle, especially if you're going overseas. Here's NBC's Morgan Chesky.
If you're still searching for an affordable summer getaway, the savings can be significant. Travel experts say one-stop shopping could pay off big.
So you want to look for inclusive packages where you get the most bang for your buck.
If you're looking for more than just a beach getaway, you don't have to settle for an old-fashioned road trip. If you know where to look, some of the best deals out there are just across the pond.
According to Kayak, bargain hunters can still find summer airfare to Iceland, Spain, Ireland, and London, all under $800 round trip. One of the lowest fares we found, a round-trip ticket from Boston to Paris for less than $400.
Europe is in a right old mess economically, starting with London, where thanks to the collapsing pound, you'll get great value.
Elsewhere across the globe, your dollars will stretch the most in places like Canada, Argentina, even Vietnam. But some of the best deals will come if you're willing to bend a little.
Flexibility is going to be the key. You want to look at alternate airports. You want to be prepared to go somewhere that has a terrific offer. And if you can be flexible, that's how you're going to stretch your buck.
Through summer, making memories with getaway deals, easy on the wallet. Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
It's the end of the road for a vehicle that has symbolized many things for more than 8 decades. Today, Volkswagen is halting production of the last version of its Beetle model at its plant in Puebla, Mexico, marking the end of an era. The VW factory in Puebla had long been the only plant in the world still manufacturing classic Beetles, and more recently became the only one left making modern ones. But people in the outskirts of Mexico City still rely on the original no-frills version, praising it for its affordability, repairability, and most of all, its dexterity at handling the district's steep streets. Their older models of the cars are often used as informal taxis in a place that lacks public transportation. And we're back now in world news. An American scientist from Oakland who disappeared a week ago on the island of Crete was found dead yesterday. The state coroner in Greece says the woman believed to be a missing American scientist likely died as a result of a, quote, criminal act. Suzanne Eaton, a 60-year-old molecular biologist at the world-renowned Max Planck Institute in Dresden, Germany, was attending a conference in northwestern Crete when she was reported missing July 2nd. Greek authorities said a body was found on a rough, rocky site inside a World War II bunker, about 5 or 6 miles from where she was last seen. Police said further forensic tests were underway. The cause of death not immediately known. Eaton is survived by her husband and 2 sons. Huge crowds jammed New York City streets trying to catch a glimpse of the World Cup heroes this morning during a ticker tape parade. The team, along with coaches and staff, rode on 2 different floats with the coveted trophy tucked under Megan Rapinoe's arms, along with her co-captains Alex Morgan and Carrie Lloyd. The parade ended at City Hall, where Mayor Bill de Blasio presented the players with keys to the city. During a speech, Rapinoe praised her teammates for being, quote, resilient and tough, and shared a powerful message of love versus hate.
This is my charge to everyone. We have to be better. We have to love more, hate less. We got to listen more and talk less. We got to know that this is everybody's responsibility, every single person here.
A little girl has a lot to celebrate this week after battling a rare type of cancer for more than a year. She's cancer-free, done with treatments, and just rang in her 8th birthday. But all that excitement isn't stopping her from giving back to others. Lauren Coronado was there for the special celebration.
Big smiles for Zoe, okay?
It's more than just a birthday party for this 8-year-old.
I dreamed about this day, and for it to finally be here is just a dream come true. for our entire family.
Sheena Figueroa says her daughter Zoe was given a 50% chance to live. She battled stage 4 neuroblastoma, a rare and aggressive cancer, for 16 months before beating the disease.
She's a warrior, and I'm just so proud of her to get through this.
On Sunday, she turned 8 and had her last treatment. Her one birthday wish?
All the presents going to?
For
more cancer kids.
Yeah, more cancer kids.
Donating her presents to foundations and hospitals that have helped her through recovery, like the Healing Little Heroes Foundation.
That is so wonderful, for an 8-year-old to be so mature to donate all her gifts to other kids at various hospitals.
Making this birthday celebration one to remember.
I'm so happy by Zoe turning 8. And this was her dream come true.